You didn't pull away because you hate people. You pulled away because something in you got tired of pretending. Not physical exhaustion, something deeper. The kind that sits quietly and whispers, "I can't do this anymore." It didn't happen all at once. Group chats stopped mattering. Conversations felt repetitive. Noise that once felt exciting started feeling heavy. And nothing on the outside looked wrong. People were the same. Life was the same. But something inside you had changed. You weren't trying to isolate. You were trying to hear yourself again. It comes in small realizations. Subtle discomforts you can't ignore. You sit in a room full of people and feel alone. You're in conversations, but not inside them. Not because you don't care, but because it doesn't feel real. And that's when it begins. Yet you notice how much of your life was built on tolerating. Shallow conversations, being misunderstood, noise just to feel included. You thought presence meant connection. You thought talking meant closeness. Now you see the difference. Because once you experience depth, everything else feels empty. Not bad, just empty, like it fills your time, but not you. And once you see that, you can't unsee it. You can try to go back, sit in the same rooms, laugh at the same things, but something in you won't engage the same way. It knows the difference now. So you start pulling away, quietly. You say no more, spend more time alone, stop explaining yourself. From the outside, it looks like distance, but it's honesty. For the first time, you're not overriding your own signals. But you used to ignore that inner voice, the one that noticed what felt off. Now you don't. And that's where the loneliness begins. Not because you lost people, but because you lost the version of yourself that stayed in places that didn't feel right. That version fit in more, but it came at the cost of ignoring yourself. Now there's a gap, a quiet space where your old life used to be. And it feels uncomfortable. Because you're not fully in the old, but haven't found the new. You're in between. And in that space, your mind questions, am I isolating? Am I too sensitive? But look closer. You're not pushing people away. You're just no longer pulling yourself into what doesn't feel right. That's awareness. You notice things now. When people talk without meaning, when questions aren't real, when energy feels forced. And once you see it, you can't ignore it. So you step back. Not out of judgment, out of alignment. Because you're no longer willing to trade peace for participation. And that's where it gets hard. Because depth isolates before it connects. It removes what doesn't fit before bringing what does. That middle phase? It's quiet. Not peaceful at first, just echoing. Your thoughts louder, your emotions clearer. Because there's no distraction anymore. And in that silence, you feel everything. Not just discomfort, but grief. Not always about people, but about the life you thought would work. The version where you could stay connected without losing yourself. Where you adapted to belong. Now you see it differently. You didn't burn out because life was too much. You burned out because you were overriding yourself. Adjusting, opti-filtering, performing. Until one day, you couldn't anymore. So you stopped. And everything became clearer. You see how often you stayed quiet, agreed just to keep peace. Filtered who you were. And that realization is heavy. Because now you're seeing yourself clearly too. That brings a different loneliness. Not being alone, but realizing how long you weren't fully yourself. But here's the shift. That loneliness isn't the problem, it's the transition. You're becoming selective, not judgmental, honest. You're no longer chasing interaction. You're looking for real connection. The kind where you don't perform, where silence feels natural, where you can just be. And those connections are rare. So your world gets quieter, but clearer. Now when something feels right, you notice immediately a conversation that flows, is someone who truly listens. A moment where nothing feels forced, and your system relaxes. That's the difference now. You're not chasing intensity. You're recognizing alignment. You're not forcing yourself into spaces. You're letting the right ones find you. And that takes time. Because you're no longer filling life with noise to avoid emptiness. You're allowing space. And in that space, you meet yourself. Without roles, without expectations, just you. And for the first time, that feels real. So no, you didn't pull away because you hate people. You pulled away because you started listening to yourself. You stopped confusing noise with meaning, presence with connection, inclusion with being understood. And now, you're not willing to go back. Not because you're better, but because you know the cost of staying where you don't belong. You're not broken, not distant, not too much. You're just no longer willing to be less. And that quiet you feel? It's not emptiness, it's clarity, the space between who you were and who you're becoming. And that echo in the silence? It's not loneliness. It's you, finally hearing yourself.